What's up, guys? Welcome back to Michigan Muckraker. My name's Michelle. Today is June 26th of 2023, and as usual, there is a ton going on here in Michigan in terms of Industry 4.0. So right now, Whitmer is overseas once again on taxpayer dollars, selling us out to globalist corporations that want to bring their businesses here. So there's a couple press releases that I want to share with you. Of course, there's news on Gotion, Marshall megasite, and the Mundy Township megasite that just popped up. Now, I know that there are tons of other megasites that are popping up. I need to get a list together of all the stuff that's going on in terms of EV batteries here in Michigan. And once again, it's only because we have such beautiful, pristine water here that they want to come and use up, because batteries take a ton of water to create. So, Michiganders, we need to be aware of all this going on, and if we don't want it, we need to voice our opposition. We need to say no. So, I'm going to start out with the meetings. First, tonight, there's a Mundy Township Hall Board meeting at 7 p.m., and there's a protest before that at 5 p.m. So that's at Linden and Hill Road in Mundy Township. Next up, we have the Michigan Strategic Fund Board meeting tomorrow at 9 a.m. And the Stop the Marshall Megasite midweek protest is June 28th on Wednesday, 3:30 to 5:30 p.m. Those are the big ones that we have going on right now. Gotion has a new nonprofit organization that has a website. It's called MESA, the Mecosta Environmental Security Alliance. This is Green Charter Township, Michigan press release. The community opposition effort against the proposed Gotion Gigafactory in Mecosta County took another step forward this week with the formation of an official organization known as the Mecosta Environmental Security Alliance, MESA. Now, I'm going to keep going, but Trump actually was in Novi, Michigan, and he mentioned Gotion, so I do have a clip of that. And I have a few things to share about old Trump that you may or may not know already. So we're going to get into that. Thank you very much for joining me, by the way. If you guys like this type of content, please smash the like button. I like to talk about Michigan news, Industry 4.0, and books when I can get around to it. This nonprofit organization, MESA, formalizes the effort to protect Mecosta County, our neighboring communities, and West Central Michigan from both the environmental and national security threats posed by the proposed Gotion Gigafactory in Green Charter Township, Michigan. The organization exists to raise awareness, educate the community, and fund legal efforts to stop the construction of this facility, and will oppose any attempt to bring a business into our community that threatens harm to our environment or has significant ties to nations who threaten harm to America. The board of directors for the newly formed organization includes local community leaders Jason Cruz, Bruce Baker, Terry Hook, Mary Inglesman, and former Congressman and Ambassador Peter Hoekstra, who has been instrumental in the opposition effort against Gotion. Ambassador Hoekstra has been a tremendous ally to our work, and we are thrilled to have him on the MESA board, working side by side with our community as we take the next step forward to stop Gotion from taking over our home, said MESA President Jason Cruz. Hoekstra, along with former Ambassador Joseph Sella, have been vocal opponents of Gotion through their organization Michigan China Economic and Security Review Group. The newly formed nonprofit organization is seeking donations to fund ongoing legal actions against Gotion. To donate, learn more about them at this website. So this is their website. Very simple, easy to navigate. There's information on here, but I will say that they do need to add pictures of Gotion, the site itself. They need to add some stuff here, but they have the base, and so it's a start, right? If you go to help us, I think you can donate. Okay, it shows where you can make a donation if you so desire to help the cause monetarily. Of course, that's only just one way to do it. It is helpful for lawyer fees, but if you can't then there's plenty of other ways to help, of course, which going and voicing your opposition at all of these board meetings is the best way, because we need to show strength in numbers. Again, if we can get 10,000 people at these meetings, they would actually listen to us. I think they'd be sitting up straight and listening to what we have to say. At least you would hope. Really quick, this just shows Gotion National Wetlands Inventory. Look at all these real wetlands where this is where Gotion is going to go. So if Eagle actually is supposed to protect wetlands, then they need to actually stop this project, because there's plenty here that will be destroyed if Gotion goes through. Okay, here we go. So this post shows that the current board of directors for Gotion are these individuals right here. Now, Zeng holds 103 million voting shares, Li Chen 28 million. Together it totals 302 million shares, whereas Volkswagen only has 202 million. So I will leave a link in the description for you to look at this yourself. But as a friendly reminder, Li Chen is a part of the World Economic Forum. He is the president, Gotion Global, Gotion High Tech. Of course, Chuck Thelen and all the guys deny that there's any connection, but the facts are there for you to see for yourself. Also, Li Chen, president, Gotion Global, Gotion High Tech, People's Republic of China, is a World Economic Forum Young Global Leader announced this year in March. So again, I always link this back to the anointed ones that have a vision, because to me that's the top of the pyramid. So it's really important to understand that these people are all taking orders from the UN, the World Economic Forum. I don't talk about the Vatican much, but that's another central power. So the EU, of course, the European Union. These people think they know better, and they are dictating things very slyly. They've penetrated the cabinets, as Klaus Schwab has said in the past. So I will continue to show how all of this is linked to the big dogs, because that is the true threat. China is a partner of the World Economic Forum. So yes, they are a threat, but no larger than the World Economic Forum from where I sit. Trump spoke at Novi. I am not going to go through the whole thing, and this Brightside Broadcasting Network on Rumble is where I found it, but we're going to listen for just a couple minutes on him discussing Gotion and what he has to say about Gotion, and then I have a few things to share with you about Trump.
Joe Biden and Ron DeSanctimonious were both all in favor of it, but we stopped it cold. If I hadn't, you wouldn't have any auto production in Michigan. Just as I promised the people of Michigan, I withdrew from, it's called TPP, nice name, TPP. I withdrew on day one. I totally renegotiated Obama and Biden's horrendous Korea trade deal, one of the worst trade deals. But I renegotiated it. It would have flooded our market with foreign pickup trucks and cars, decimating your industry. I ended it, and I made it into a great deal. It's now a great deal for you. I also placed historic tariffs on all foreign aluminum and foreign steel, which saved your steel industry. Otherwise, you wouldn't even have a steel industry.
You should be mentioning Gotion.
And if you don't have steel, you don't have a country. Like borders, like elections, you got to have real elections. We don't have real elections. We have fake elections. I stood up to China like no administration has ever done before, bringing in hundreds of billions of dollars pouring into our treasury from China, when no other president had gotten them to pay even 10 cents. China never gave us anything except lip service. And when China targeted our farmers, which they did viciously and violently, I said to our Secretary of Agriculture, what's the damage that they did over the years? It was $28 billion. So I gave our farmers $28 billion from China. I got it from China, straight out of the tariffs that China was paying. $28 billion to our farmers. That's why when they say, how are you doing in Iowa? How are you doing in Nebraska? I said, there's no way the farmers are voting against me. I got them $28 billion, but you never know, do you? Except we just had a poll come out of Iowa where I'm leading by 47%, so I'd have to lose pretty quickly. Now, we're doing great in Iowa. We're doing great all over. Ron DeSantis opposed my China tariffs very strongly, and simply put, he sided with the communists in China while I fought for workers in America, and successfully like nobody has ever fought so successfully. No president has fought harder either for Michigan than I have. No president has ever fought harder. I saw what was happening from day one.
He takes forever to say anything, like they all do.
And sadly, none has betrayed Michigan more than crooked Joe Biden. He's betrayed your state because he's allowing people to take away your jobs at a level that nobody's ever seen before. You'll see it over the next couple of years. Right now, you're not feeling it as much because of what we did, but you'll see it. For 3 years, Biden and his radical left allies have waged war on American auto workers like nobody has witnessed to this extent before. In his ridiculous crusade to force everyone into electric cars. And by the way, they have a place. Right now, they're selling at about 5%. They have a place. They want them to sell at 100%.
They have a place.
But we don't have the goods to make them. You know who has the goods? China has the goods. China has the countries and controls the countries with what they need for the batteries. But you know, we have more than anybody else, including Saudi Arabia and Russia. We have liquid gold right under our feet. Biden has doubled the CAFE standards, costing automakers an estimated $200 billion, and that number is going up, and sending car prices skyrocketing and killing thousands and thousands of U.S. auto jobs. In addition to which you can't produce because you can't get the chips, and you can't have, your supply chain is a disaster. The whole country is a mess. Biden is a catastrophe for Michigan, and his environmental extremism is heartless and disloyal and horrible for the American worker, and you're starting to see it. Driven by his ridiculous regulations, electric cars will kill more than half of U.S. auto jobs and decimate the suppliers. They're being decimated already. Decimate the suppliers, and it's going to decimate your jobs, and it's going to decimate more than anybody else the state of Michigan. It's going to be decimation. It's going to be at a level that people can't even imagine. Meanwhile, the cars don't go far. The range is even worse in the winter. The materials are all made in China, and it takes so much energy to produce the batteries that electric cars don't even break even environmentally for at least 5 to 10 years.
They never do.
Break even.
They never do.
It's a catastrophe waiting to happen. And if somebody wants an electric car, I'm all for it. But you should be able to have a choice of many different versions of automation and automobiles. It's crazy what they're doing. You know, in California, they're talking about all electric cars, and yet they're having blackouts all summer long.
He ain't lying about that.
Electricity. Now they want to go all electric. And you know, some people.
All right. I thought he mentioned Gotion. I'm sorry. I could have swore it was between minute 2:12 and 2:15. I'm not going to keep going on with that one. I wanted to show you this because I don't trust Trump, and this is why.
What is your message to the senators at your trial this week?
This is one reason why, I should say.
Well, we're here meeting with world leaders, the biggest, most important people in the world, and we're bringing back tremendous business in the United States, and they're all here to see. I'll be making a speech, and then we'll be leaving shortly. But I think it's very important. The other's just a hoax. It's the witch hunt that's been going on for years, and frankly, it's disgraceful. But we look forward to being here. Klaus has done a fantastic job. Klaus has done a fantastic job.
Klaus has done a fantastic job.
Klaus has done a fantastic job.
Fantastic job.
Fantastic job. Fantastic job. Fantastic job. Fantastic job.
Whoever made this video.
Klaus has done a fantastic job.
And again, we're meeting with the biggest companies in the world, the biggest businesses in the world, and world leaders, all for the benefit of the United States. We look forward to the meetings.
Why not have witnesses? Is Greta right on climate change, Mr. President?
Well, I'm a big believer in the environment. The environment to me is very important. Thank you.
So there you have it. He stands next to Klaus Schwab of the World Economic Forum. I believe this was 2019 or 2020. Doesn't say. It was posted in 2022, but he was actually there in 2019 or 2020. And he has controlled opposition. I'm sorry to say, I don't like Trump. I don't like Biden. That's why I call myself a political atheist. I don't think that you can become president without being a part of this club. I have a few more things. This is Ivanka Trump here at the World Economic Forum. Operation Warpspeed. If you know anything about Operation Warpspeed, then I don't understand how you can still support Trump. He deregulated the pharmaceutical industry. The most corrupt industry that we have, and everybody knew it in 2019. I just can't comprehend. Now, I don't want to get off track. This is definitely about Industry 4.0, but it's important to understand that Trump is not your friend, okay? He's not going to save us. Real quick, Bill Gates in the White House, Trump offered him a job as White House science advisor. Bill Gates and Jim Brown in the Trump Tower, two great guys. This was 2016. This is him and Ivanka at the World Economic Forum, right next to Klaus Schwab. So, as you could see, Ivanka Trump, a World Economic Forum Young Global Leader, confirmed by the White House. Now, this has been scrubbed. You can't see the Young Global Leaders before 2017 unless you know how to look on the dark spots on the internet, not the dark web. I don't know how to do that. I'm just talking about finding it not on the official websites. Yes, these people are very connected with each other, and again, it's important we understand. Operation Warp Speed was a huge success. So why is the U.S. turning away from it? You come down here. This is Vox, which is very left-leaning. One of the biggest accomplishments of Trump administration, and yes, there were accomplishments, was Operation Warp Speed, the public-private effort to rapidly develop COVID vaccines. Public-private partnerships. Trump is totally involved in that. Operation Warp Speed bought 100 million doses of Pfizer and Moderna's vaccines before results came in. $3.5 billion bet. That, of course, Insider says is paying off, but I think that it's important you understand that people have been injured, and this is a program that's going on in Fremont Thursday, June 29th. I need to shout out Novi County Grassroots is hosting this. So it's a screening of the documentary film Anecdotals, dealing with COVID-19 vaccine injuries, side effects, and obstacles to treatment. Education forum about current and long-term consequences, a Q&A. There's guest speakers that are doctors with PhDs. So if you have been injured and you want treatment options and you want to talk to other individuals who may have been injured, then please show up at 203 East Main Street, Fremont, Michigan, June 29th at doors open at 5 o'clock. Program begins at 5:30. So thank you to Novi County Grassroots for helping these individuals that have been silenced for the last 3 years. Now, going back, Marshall City Council denies referendum. This is June 21st. Residents are fighting back. Marshall, Michigan residents intent on stopping the Marshall megasite have appealed the Marshall City Clerk's determination of petition signature insufficiency to the Marshall City Council. We received word on Monday, June 19, 2023, via email from City Manager Derek Perry that our petition had been denied, said Mark Robinson of the Citizens Group. A certified letter stating the reasons for petition insufficiency was received on Tuesday, June 20th, 2023. The Committee for Marshall, not the megasite, a ballot question committee comprised of local residents, submitted the petition to the Marshall City Clerk on May 30th, 2023, with 810 signatures, well over the 580 signatures required to move the referendum forward. We were deliberate in our gathering of signatures to ensure we first met the requirement of 10% of registered voters within the city of Marshall. We went well beyond the minimum to allow for a margin of error, Regis Kingler of the committee explained. Petition circulator, hello, and committee member Holly Hardin said people were eager to sign the petition as they learned with horror the size and scope of this project. The level of anger is rising as people realize what elected officials and others hired to represent the best interest of our city and township are doing to the land and to us. George Alverson says Trump has his issues for sure. Hopefully this about keeping your friends close and your enemies closer. I know that people would like to believe that, but once again, I firmly believe that you do not become president unless you're part of that group. It's a puppet seat. As soon as you get into presidency, you get an envelope saying, hey, these are your orders, this is what you're going to do. And he was meant to look like the good guy for the people that want freedom, for people that want low taxes, smaller government. But if you actually look at what he did, of course he had good policies, I'm not saying that, but overall he helped make government bigger, and again, he helped the pharmaceutical companies get rid of basically all of their the safeguards, right? The safeguards for us, Operation Warpspeed. So I'm sorry to say, but I think Trump has been captured, or he was always captured, one or the other. Now, personally, I think that you don't become president unless you're one of them. In the city, so back to Marshall. Thank you, by the way, for your comment. In the city clerk's certified letter rejecting the petition for a vote-heavy industrial zoning ordinance, the city gave the following reasons for insufficiency. That only members of the committee could circulate and submit petitions, even though the city charter does not state this. An appropriation included in the ordinance disqualifies any referendum on that ordinance. The committee believes the appropriation was deliberately included in the ordinance by the city to prevent a referendum. The Marshall City Council added the petition review to the 6/20/2023 meeting agenda at the last minute, providing only a quick overview before voting unanimously to uphold the city clerk's findings. The results of the city council vote were, despite multiple requests by committee members and residents to reread the city charter and follow it prior to voting on the insufficiency findings. Backed by community groundswell, the committee plans to take legal action on the insufficiency reasons put forward by the city. So basically, the city is acting corrupt. It's lying, making up new rules, doing the same thing it did to get Tulsi Gabbard out, right? Tulsi Gabbard, there's a bunch of new rules that she couldn't even debate, and if you can't debate, then you're not seen. Again, Tulsi Gabbard is another young global leader, so I'm not saying that I'm for Tulsi Gabbard. I'm simply saying that these people change the rules as they see fit in order to win the game, which is one of the reasons why I think that we need to just create a parallel society instead of trying to win at their own game, because I don't think we can. The game is rigged in their favor. I think, again, parallel societies, just as it says in the book Power of the Powerless, that's how Czechoslovakia got rid of communism. Free speech is going underground right now. There are speakeasies for free speech. Eventually, though, there will be enough people in the underground that it will go mainstream and thus replace the old. And so far, from all the reading I've done, that's the only way that I can see we actually replace this communist system. This community matters more than the individual. And so, again, if the community matters more than the individual, any atrocity can be justified because it's for the greater good. So, sorry to get on a tangent. Back to this really quick. Seeking the referendum would provide City of Marshall voters a say regarding the future of the community. Voting is something that citizens have requested on multiple occasions after being made aware only months ago that the massive megasite was already in the works and had been planned for over 2 years. Sound familiar, Gotion? I'm sure it's the same thing with the Mundy Township, that they've been working on that for a couple years and you don't hear anything about it, and you don't get a vote. That's the biggest thing for all of us. If this is going to bring regional change that you boast about, why don't we get a vote, a say? The project is intended to devour approximately 3,000 acres of prime Calhoun County farmland, homes, wooded acreage, and existing businesses. Ford Motor Company 2.5 million square foot lithium ion phosphate battery plant would be the anchor of the mega industrial sprawl at the site. To secure the land, farm, and homeowners were pursued and required to sign non-disclosure agreements to keep the terms of the project secret. Since the project became public, citizens have turned out in force at meeting after meeting to speak against Ford's plans. Residents have been led to believe this is a done deal, said Glenn Kowalski, committee advisor and circulator. That is standard rhetoric used to dissuade people from rejecting projects of this scale. Again, heard it several times in Gotion. They've tried to make you believe that it's done so that you are apathetic, that you give up. But we must not give up. We must not be apathetic. That is worse than hatred. At least hatred, you feel something. Now again, we shouldn't be hating, but don't be apathetic. Residents of Marshall Township and City of Marshall can be involved by writing and calling their respective elected leaders and asking that the question of heavy industrial zoning for the Ford Blue Oval battery plant be put to a vote of the people of the City of Marshall. So, I don't see what's wrong with them wanting to call a vote. The city is going around their signatures. This is out of MLive. Petition against Ford Marshall plant didn't have enough valid signatures. This is mainstream news. So this was the actual people fighting. And this is on the IDRA site. And this is from mainstream news. A petition against the Ford battery plant in Marshall failed because it didn't get enough valid signatures. Marshall City Clerk Michelle Eubanks rejected the petition last week after the committee for Marshall, not the megasite, submitted more than 800 signatures as part of a referendum of the $3.5 billion plant. But a legal review found only 136 signatures were valid. The opposition group needed to collect a minimum of 578 valid signatures. The other signatures were obtained from circulators that were not members of the committee, Eubanks wrote in a certificate of insufficiency. The committee for Marshall on June 20th asked the City Council to review the certificate of insufficiency. At a meeting Tuesday night, Marshall City Council reviewed the letter and approved its findings. We were deliberate in our gatherings of the signatures. Okay. Come down here and it says, the Marshall Area Economic Development Alliance has celebrated the multi-billion-dollar investment that is expected to create 2,500 jobs. With this petition drive now rejected, we can focus on the exciting work ahead of creating local jobs for people today and long into the future, so young people in our community won't have to move away from Marshall area to find a career. This is what they keep saying, and I want to address this. Young people moving away. 3 reasons Gen X, Z, and millennials are moving to small towns. Reasons young people are moving to small towns. City life is more stressful than living in small towns. Cost of living in small towns is lower. And remote work is more possible now than ever before. I am a millennial, and I can tell you that the majority of the people that I know are moving out of the cities. They don't want to live in the city. They don't need to live in the city when you have remote work. So we want to keep people in these towns. Well, to keep them there, make them a small, quaint town like the Marshall people want. The people of Marshall want to create a historic, recreational area. They don't want a huge battery plant, right? Here in Big Rapids, just north of Big Rapids, Gotion, same thing. Why can't we keep these towns small, low cost of living when young people want that? So it's a lie when they say that this is to keep young people here. Young millennials drive remote work push. Millennials want to go online and they want to move to the country, live cheap, live in nature. They don't want a huge battery plant. Committee for Marshall, the latest move of the City of Marshall to block the right of residents to have a referendum is a travesty, excuse me. They were told at the May 1st council meeting that what they were doing was wrong at least twice. They were again told June 15. Both times they didn't respond. They have twisted language. They have twisted the language of the city charter to transfer the blame of not accepting the 810 signatures to our group. There is no requirement for only the committee members to collect signatures. This is a ploy by the city and their financial supporters to shift the embarrassment away from themselves. Do not let them support our legal action financially. I have a website right here. Committee for Marshall, not the megasite. They've raised $24,829 out of $30,000 so far. I'll leave this down in the description if you wish to donate to this cause. It'll make it nice and easy for you. This comes out of the Marshall site as well, but it affects everybody, or rather, it applies to everybody that has an EV battery plant coming to their area because of lithium. As a professor of chemistry at Michigan State University, I have spent nearly 40 years of research related to environmental chemistry and environmental analysis. As a resident of Marshall Township, I want to help our community understand the environmental issues that are of the greatest concern with regard to the proposed Marshall megasite. In my previous letter on May 20th, I focused on general issues that would be involved if any large manufacturing plant were located at the site on the Kalamazoo River. In this letter, I will focus on specific issues related to the production of lithium-ion batteries for electric vehicles. Ford has said that they plan to manufacture enough batteries for 400,000 electric vehicles per year, equivalent to 35 gigawatt hours per year. As each battery requires about 160 grams of lithium per kilowatt hour, the consumption is calculated to be 17 to 20 tons of lithium per day. This large scale should be kept in mind given the unique risks associated with chemical reactions involving lithium. During battery operation, lithium metal is oxidized to form lithium ion, plus an electron at the anode, and during battery charging, the opposite reduction reaction occurs. Lithium metal, like sodium and other alkali metals, is highly reactive and exothermic. That is, it releases heat upon reaction. It reacts spontaneously with oxygen, nitrogen, and water vapor in the air, causing explosions and/or fires. These fires have been reported in sealed battery installed in electric vehicles, but occur far more frequently in battery manufacturing plants, where the lithium metal is exposed and being processed. Fires can also occur if the anode and cathode come in contact during production. Class D metal fires require specialized fire extinguishing equipment and cannot be quenched with water and standard carbon dioxide, dry chemical, or foam fire extinguishers. Now, real quick, at a Gotion planning zoning meeting, somebody brought up the fact that here in Big Rapids, we do not have a Trauma 1 center at our hospital, which means that we aren't prepared if any catastrophe were to happen. So that is a question. If Gotion does get put in, are they going to fund a new trauma center and a helipad? Toxic fumes are released into the air, and the solid chemical residue of the fire may be discharged into floor drains as wastewater, or, if outside the plant, may flow down the floodplain to the Kalamazoo River. This common type of accident is one of the primary routes by which lithium ion is released into the environment. It is important to be aware that lithium ion is a powerful drug used for the treatment of bipolar disorder and major depressive disorders. It acts on the brain and central nervous system, but the mechanism is not well understood. The therapeutic range of lithium ion in the bloodstream is very narrow, 0.6 to 1.2 mmOIL, and above this concentration, it can cause damage to thyroid and kidneys at 1.5 mmOIL and death at concentrations greater than 2.0. Unless you are under medical treatment with lithium, it is unlikely that your blood samples will be routinely analyzed for lithium ion. In addition, most public and private water supplies are not routinely analyzed for lithium ion. Lithium is challenging to remove from water and wastewater supplies, as most ion exchange resins in water filters and water softeners are ineffective. Among the commercially available water treatments, only reverse osmosis systems are effective in removing lithium ion. That's good to know. I know that those systems are expensive, but it may be worth it if these plants go through. Hence, lithium contamination poses a significant health risk to the residents of Marshall Township, as well as those downstream of the Kalamazoo River. There are also major health risks associated with the chemicals and solvents that are used to produce the battery cathode. Because of length limitations in these letters, I will describe these issues at a later date. So thank you very much, Victoria McGuffin, PhD, Marshall Township. I really appreciate that analysis. It comes again from a professor of chemistry at MSU, spent nearly 40 years on research. So it's a problem. And that is why this article that I want to share next is very disingenuous. And if I could find it, I'm sorry, I have so many articles to share. There it is. A proposed Gotion plant has turned neighbors and friends into enemies. Now, this is very long. I'm not going to get into the entire thing, but I want to show you why this is propaganda. So if we type in China, you can see it talks about China 58 times. If you type in Chinese 46 times, and you type in xenophobic, and there's 4 times that they say that there's xenophobic language going on, and they say that we don't want the battery plants that are connected to China because we're xenophobic. That's all propaganda and lies. Environment is the #1 thing that all of us Michiganders are concerned about, anybody that I've talked to. Now, national security is a concern for many people, Republicans in specific, but because for some reason Democrats don't care, but that doesn't matter. The fact that this environment is only talked about 11 times. They barely mention environment. So I will have this down below. You can read it, but it's propaganda, it's bullcrap, and it comes from Michigan Advance. Again, look at this, is so long, and majority of it is just talking crap about the people that are concerned about these battery plants coming in. And this right here is where Gotion is supposed to go. Look at how beautiful this country is, this state of Michigan, and they want to decimate it with huge battery plants in the name of green, to save the planet. They want to destroy the planet to save the planet. It drives me nuts. If you can't tell, it drives me nuts. Okay, going over here, once again, look at this. Beautiful. It is the desert, so it's not as beautiful in my opinion. But, and all of these bushes are extremely hard and scratch you because there's no water. But lithium is underneath this beautiful landscape right here. And so they want to demolish this in order to get lithium for these batteries that we don't even want. This is the website, MichiganMegasite.com. I will have the link in the description so you can take action if you want to help fight against the Marshall Megasite. You go here to take action now, and this will help fight any of the megasites because it has all of the senators that you need to contact, and it has the templates for mostly for Gotion right now, but more and more are being added, so look out for those. And you can always change the wording from Gotion to Marshall because they're both obviously huge battery plants that the people do not want. So now we're going to get into Whitmer, going over to Europe. Once again, taxpayer dollars, selling us out. Paris-based engineering company to expand into Michigan, Whitmer says during France trip. I should have looked up Explio, a Paris-based engineering company, will open its first North American research and development facility in Michigan, says Whitmer. The company is expected to invest $2 million in the project and will focus on automotive R&D, which, because it's linked to Industry 4.0 and electric vehicles, this means automation, right, and software in your vehicle. It's estimated to create 196 jobs in Oakland County, though the exact location has not been chosen. So something to look out for. I don't know how big this plant will be, but it's coming to Michigan somewhere. The announcement comes as Whitmer spends 4 days in France and Germany to drum up investment in Michigan from European aerospace, defense, mobility, and manufacturing industries. The Michigan Economic Development Corporation has been working with Explio for around a year, probably secretly, signed with NDAs, and this was our opportunity to seal the deal, says Whitmer. Explio considered other locations, Canada, the Midwest, and the South, but we must have bribed them sufficiently. It chose Michigan for its automotive presence, engineering workforce, and relationships with suppliers and customers. The state is likely to request taxpayer-funded incentives for the company, Whitmer said, but she declined to specify how much would be offered. See? Bribe them. That's how we get them here. With the company's expansion into Michigan, said Explio Executive Vice President of Automotive Marcus Angun in a statement, we will be able to partner with its community of automotive businesses to provide the deeply integrated engineering and technology services needed to address the most pressing challenges facing our industry, such as e-mobility. Whitmer said she spent Monday at Paris Air Show, an annual aviation trade show. All on taxpayer dollars. So she's just... This is how our taxpayer dollars are for Whitmer. The governor declined to specify which auto suppliers she would be meeting with. Oh, so you can just spend our money and go off to Europe, but you don't have to tell us what you're doing. Gotta love it. Said they already have a footprint in Michigan and relationships with Michigan-based automakers, but are considering growing it. She said she has been wanting to visit Germany for a while because of its strong auto manufacturing industry and economic ties with Michigan. Our aerospace industry is one that we are going to focus on growing in the state of Michigan, and the defense space as well. That's why these meetings rose at the top of our priority list. Okay. Earlier this month, she created a commission to study and address Michigan's population decline. I wonder, after she was a tyrant for 2.5 years and somehow got put back in, why are people leaving when she's making government bigger and bigger and bigger? Who doesn't want that? Studies have shown Michigan has struggled to retain population, especially recent graduates with the skills necessary to shift the state's auto industry to electric and autonomous vehicle production. Asked whether companies are asking about the talent shortage, Whitmer said businesses are aware of state policies aimed at strengthening the workforce. Right. So the answer for Whitmer is more committees, more big government. Oh, we have no idea why they're leaving. How about lower the taxes, make government smaller, make it more friendly for all businesses to come here instead of picking and choosing winners and losers, and maybe it'd stop being a tyrant, and maybe people would stay. As I chatted with the CEO of Explio, he was very conversant in all of the different ways that we have been upskilling our workforce. Right. She said, citing state education and training programs, Michigan Reconnect, Going Pro, and Futures for frontliners. They also know that I am supportive of an R&D tax credit so that we can incentivize this high-end part of the industry to ensure that it happens in Michigan. She added that the state's diversity, equity, and inclusion policies was something that resonated with the company as well. Well, if you know anything about diversity, equity, inclusion, then you know that that is a top-down brainwashing campaign, okay? It just is what it is. And it comes from the United Nations, World Economic Forum, and BlackRock. If you haven't seen my BlackRock video, I suggest you check it out. They're a powerhouse. $22 trillion worth of money that they can play with. Trillion, with a T. So who do you think runs that? Who do you think runs the world, right? Banks, money. Michigan wins nearly 200 high-wage, high-tech jobs from European company Explio. This was the official press release. Whitmer over there selling us out. And it says, together we have created powerful economic development tools to bring supply chains of cars, chips, and batteries home and secured 35,000 auto jobs since I took office. Yes, you have definitely created a powerful economic development tool for your disposal, central government. Our unemployment rate is below 4% because everybody's leaving. Let's see. The governor is joined was joined for the announcement at the company's headquarters in Paris as part of her European investment mission to Paris and Germany, taking place now through June 22nd. She was joined by leaders and Quentin Messer from the MEDC, the CEO. Right there. There he is. And Whitmer. Don't recognize any of the other ones, but... Alright. We're going to look... This is the Explio, the automotive sector. This is their little video, so we're going to see what they have to say. Only a minute and 11. Sustainable mobility, huh? Global engineering. Okay. By combining years of expertise in automotive with our mission to drive innovation forward, I didn't realize this is... We are accelerating change towards a freer, safer, enter the new era of mobility. Freedom, thanks to new features and services in the car and beyond. Look at this. I wanted to show you this. This looks to me like what you see out of the Chinese social credit score system, 5G, where everything is connected and it's all about data, all transferring to each other, transferring to all these cameras everywhere. This is the future. This is Industry 4.0, if we allow it. And again, they say freedom, but if you buy a Ford electric vehicle and you say something against Ford in the future, a dystopian nightmare, sure, this could be. You say something against Ford, well, they could remotely shut your car off just for saying something that they don't like. They have already shut your bank account down over in Canada, right? They've weaponized the banking system. The protesters over there, they just shut their bank accounts down. This is all connected, central bank digital currency. And here we have this company coming to Michigan that is all about this data technology. Embedded software to launch a category shift, solutions to fast-track your innovations, end-to-end connectivity to power intuitive digital experiences and deliver new services. Somewhere in here there's AI. They're talking about AI driving your car. So this is Explio. The future of mobility needs visionaries. A vision of the anointed, once again. Drive your strategic growth and sustainability with our confident, scalable engineering. The next thing we have, Governor Whitmer announces 100 high-wage jobs with Eaton in Marshall, Southfield, and Canton townships. Today, Governor Gotion Whitmer and MEDC announced that intelligent power management company Eaton is expanding in Marshall, Southfield, and Canton Township with support from the Michigan Strategic Fund, which is just MEDC by another name. It's just the purse strings specifically because Quentin Messer runs this board too. The project is expected to generate a total capital investment of more than $20 million and create 100 high-wage jobs in mobility and high-tech innovation. Eaton's expansion in Michigan are driving more than $20 million investment. Michigan was chosen for this investment over numerous other locations because of the strength of our legendary manufacturing workforce, inclusive laws, and our robust business climate that welcomes companies of all sizes. We remain laser-focused on competing to bring home good-paying, high-skilled jobs that will tap into our strengths and power our economy for decades to come. This corporation is an intelligent power management company providing energy-efficient products and services to multiple industries including aerospace, data centers, healthcare, automotive, and commercial vehicles. Healthcare. So there's the digital ID connection with Industry 4.0. By capitalizing on global growth trends of electrification, Eaton is accelerating the planet's transition to renewable energy, helping to solve the world's most urgent power management challenges. You mean create them and then solve them. Eaton employs and serves many Michigan communities, including Canton, Galesburg, Jackson, Marshall, and Southfield. I am pleased to see this investment is not only in Southfield, where Eaton currently employs around 300 of our friends and neighbors, but across communities in Michigan, said Representative Hoskins. Their work toward renewable energy and electrification is crucial to the economy of the future, and we welcome their deepened commitment to Michigan. Again, the future they want to see, where everything's electric and everything can be controlled remotely. I don't know if you guys saw a couple years ago when Texas had that winter storm and they were having all kinds of energy issues. Well, people with smart meters were not able to turn their heat up past a certain point. Now, I don't remember the exact temperature, but the fact that you and your home, because they had a smart meter, you couldn't control your temperature in your house. That the company that gives you the electricity, you see how the power is transferred over with smart meters? The electrification gives power. It centralizes power, literally centralizes power. It is so dangerous. That is why I don't think hydrogen is going to go anywhere, even though it should. The technology can't be controlled remotely. I am thrilled to see Eaton expanding and investing in Canton and our state, said State Senator Danya Polhanke. This is further confirmation that Michigan has become a great place to do business, and there's no beating the hardworking spirit of Michiganders. With the electrification of our economy in full swing, Eaton's choice to expand in Canton Township in Michigan reaffirms our state's position as a leader in growth, innovation, creativity, and design. Well, I would say, Representative Ranjiv Puri of Canton. But yes, I would say that it reaffirms our state's position as elitist, centralized government. That's what we have here, unfortunately. The project is being supported with a $600,000 Jobs Ready Michigan Program performance-based grant. So there you go. There's our taxpayer dollars, $600,000 going to this company that will assist with training for new positions. Michigan was chosen for the project over competing sites in Missouri, Oregon, Wisconsin, Poland, China, India, and France because of the state's automotive leadership. Because Whitmer sold out to the World Economic Forum, and she's a partner. And so, hey, Michigan is part of the club. Just not Michiganders, because we don't get a vote. The decision by Eaton to expand in 3 locations in Michigan underscores our state's leadership in future mobility and high-tech innovation, as well as the strength of our business climate and talented workforce, said MEDC Senior Vice President of Regional Prosperity, Matt McCulley. This project is a win for Marshall, Southeast Michigan, and for the entire state. We are grateful to Michigan Governor Whitmer, legislators from both parties, and local officials for their continued support for our programs that help make announcements like today's possible. We appreciate the efforts of our local partners in supporting this effort and will continue working to win projects, invest in places, and support our people as we encourage businesses of all sizes. Jessica, thank you for joining me. What's up? She says, the communist agenda in America is real. We, as citizens, need nationwide knowledge spread like you're doing in all communities to band together, stopping these agendas. Thank you for everything you do. Thank you for hanging out with me and being willing to listen to all of you. I really appreciate you guys hanging. And again, the first step is awareness, and the fact that you guys are willing to listen, that means more than anything else, really. You'd be so surprised at how many people just won't listen, or maybe not. You probably know plenty of people that don't want to hear what's actually going on in the world. So I'm going to look once again at the company. So this is Eaton. And of course, our 2030 sustainability goals and targets, because they are totally down with United Nations Agenda 2030. We're stepping up. Excuse me. Sorry. All right. We're stepping up our commitment to improve the quality of life and the environment. Our 2030 targets include reducing the carbon emissions from our operations by half, lowering product and supply chain emissions, certifying all manufacturing sites as zero waste to landfill, and achieving carbon neutral operations. We have also set targets to further enhance employee safety, development, and engagement, and to provide more transparency into the progress the company is making towards achieving its ESG goals. Now, once again, I have 2 videos. Last week's Gotion Marshall Genesee News Roundup, at the very end of it, I talk about BlackRock and ESGs. And then I have a video dedicated to BlackRock because a couple days after I made that first video, BlackRock was exposed by O'Keefe Media Group. So ESGs are definitely going to be a huge topic that I talk about here on this channel because it took down the country of Sri Lanka. It will take down Germany, unfortunately. They are decimating their energy supplies in order to meet these ESG goals and the 2030 agenda. So pray for Germany. That's all I have to say, especially this next winter. Going up, these are the people, the board of directors for the Eaton Corporation. Right here, this guy, Johnson Controls. He's the executive vice president and chief financial officer of Johnson Controls. You go here, to the J, Johnson Controls, right? World Economic Forum partner, right here. And it says it transforms the environments where people live, work, learn, and play. As a global leader in smart, healthy, and sustainable buildings. Its mission is to reimagine the performance of building to serve people, places, and the planet. Basically to electrify. Every new development will not be able to hook up to gas. That's what their goal is. With a history of more than 135 years in innovation, Johnson Controls delivers the blueprint of the future for industries such as healthcare, schools, data centers, airports, stadiums, manufacturing, and beyond through its Open Blue digital offering. With a global team of 100,000 experts in more than 150 countries, Johnson Controls offers a portfolio of building technology, software, and service solutions. Going back to that and going down to Cargill Incorporated. This is another board member for that company that's coming to Michigan. Again, World Economic Forum partner, provides food, agriculture, financial and industrial products and services to the world. Together with farmers, customers, governments, and communities, it helps people thrive by applying its insights and 150 years of experience. It has 149,000 employees. Okay. And then come down here, Federal Reserve Bank. I don't have to say much about that. I could do a whole dedicated video about it, really, but read The Creature from Jekyll Island, and you know there's nothing federal, and there's no reserves about the Federal Reserve Bank, okay? It's a banking cartel, and she was once a part of that cartel. Jacobs Engineering Group. I don't think I saw that one. And Smith Graham, Drax Group, Wilson Collective. Okay, I believe the Drax Group. Boom. Global leader in the production, generation, and supply of renewable power from sustainably sourced biomass, and a pioneer in carbon removal technology. Bioenergy with carbon capture and storage generates 24/7 renewable energy, while also capturing carbon from the atmosphere and permanently storing it. Now, I've said it a million times, I'll say it again. We are carbon-based life forms, so a war on carbon is a war on life. So anybody that's trying to decarbonize, bring it back once again, Ireland, right? If you type in Ireland cows, let's see what comes up. Look at that. Ireland proposes culling 200,000 cows to help meet their Agenda 2030 goals because cows fart, right? It's just anti-life, guys. Cows are fine. Cow farts are fine, okay? Carbon is good. 0.02, if that was the amount of carbon in the atmosphere, everything would be dead. Right now we're at 0.04. Another thing, if all of the oceans were going to rise because of climate change, why would Obama spend $14 million just a couple years ago on a beachfront property in Florida? And you can go on to all of these people that have bought mansions on the ocean, that have claimed that if we don't stop climate change, then the oceans will rise and destroy everything. If they really believe that, they wouldn't have bought a piece of property on the ocean, okay? Let's go real quick. Al Gore. First carbon billionaire. He's close. Right here, look at this. Oh, this was 2009. He's probably a billionaire now. Why do you think that they're into this? It's about money and power. It is not about saving the planet, because again, they want to decimate the planet with lithium mining, cobalt mining. They're even talking about going to the bottom of the ocean floor and destroying all of that pristine ocean floor in order to get some material that is needed for EV batteries. So this has nothing to do with saving the planet. Going here really quick, I don't think I read this. At the top, we believe it's the WHO, the World Economic Forum, the Gates Foundation, the Rockefeller Foundation, Wellcome Trust, the entity they formed called CEPI, with a coordination of CDC, NIH, FDA. This is Dr. Peter McCullough, who has been talking about the jab and the heart problems that they cause since the beginning. It has been silenced and criticized and fired and all kinds of stuff, but he continues to speak out, and he is absolutely right. All these organizations, this is all the anointed ones that Thomas Sowell was talking about, that have a vision that you and I have to follow according to them. Now, freedom lovers, this is what we're fighting against, really. This is the root of the root, the vision of the anointed. One last thing, this video right here, this is about Gotion specifically. I have not watched the entire thing. I'm going to start it right here at 1:37, and we're going to see what she has to say about Gotion. Now, at the very beginning here, she talks about how Biden he cleared Gotion, which is not true. Biden did not clear Gotion. They didn't even review it. They said that it's not our department. That's what they said. They didn't give it a go. They said it's not our department. But Fox News, fake news, spread that around, and a lot of people, unfortunately, believe that Biden gave Gotion a go. That's not true. But we're going to jump in and watch this for a little bit and see what she's got to say.
Due to the abundance of exclusive content that I have uncovered, I will release this program in two parts. First, let's briefly discuss the background. After a month of review, the Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States determined on June 13th that Gotion High-Tech does not fall under the jurisdiction of the Defensive Production Act, allowing them to build the factory in Michigan. Prior to this decision, Gotion faces strong opposition from local residents and some lawmakers. To address this, they voluntarily submitted materials for review by the Committee on Foreign Investment. In August of last year, Michigan's Democratic Governor Gretchen Whitmer announced that Gotion would invest $2.4 billion to establish two factories covering 5.5 million square feet in Michigan, along with other facilities spread across 260 acres. In April of this year, the Michigan State Senate approved the plan with a 10-9 vote and gave Gotion a grant of $175 million. The project will be located in Green Charter Township near Big Rapids in Mecosta County. The announcement of this news has sparked dissatisfaction and protests among the local people. Even on the evening of June 13th, when the project received approval from the U.S. federal government, local residents gathered at the township board meeting, holding signs that read "No CCP" and "No Go on Gotion" to protest, even though the topic was not on the agenda. Okay, that's a brief introduction to the latest development in this matter. Now, let's focus on today's key point. Key point 1, Gotion's high-tech military background. Let's take a look at an overview of Gotion High-Tech. In the company's profile...
Hey, this is where it gets good, because you can use Google Translate for some of these websites, but some of them don't translate. So The fact that she can read this and is telling us, now obviously we have to trust her in what she's saying because we can't read Chinese, but I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt and see what she has to say.
File it states the company has been awarded the National Torch Program K High-Tech Enterprise and 3K National 863 projects. Those familiar with Chinese affairs would know that once we mention the National Torch Program and the 863 program, the military background comes evident. In fact, the so-called 863 program started in March of 1986 and was established by the CCP to counter the US Star Wars program. It mainly focuses on research projects related to military and national security, and it is also an important reason for the overall improvement of the CCP's People's Liberation Army's combat capabilities. An article published by the Epoch Times in
Real quick, have you guys heard of the Star Wars program in the 1980s? I've never heard of that, but now I'm going to look into it.
2009 titled The Chinese Communist Party's Top Secret 863 Program and Chinese Spy Cases stated that from 1986 to the year 1986 to the year the article was published in 2009, the total investment in the 863 projects has exceeded 700 billion US dollars,
Wow.
with over 83% of the technology applied in military-related fields. In 1993, U.S. intelligence agencies discovered that the 863 program was targeting major developed countries such as the U.S. The CCP's military intelligence system directly participated in the program's guidance, funding, and even conducted economic espionage activities against the U.S. through this program. An article published in 2016 in China Automotive News titled Military Enterprises Accelerate Integration of Subsidiary Component Business states. In this round of industry integration in the military enterprise component sector, emerging sectors such as batteries, electronic controls, and automotive electronics have clearly become the focus of reconstructing. At the beginning of the year, China Aerospace, Wanyuan, and Gotion High-Tech cooperated, which fully reflects China Aerospace Wanyuan's active expansion into the new energy vehicle market. China Aerospace Wanyuan's announcement stated that their joint venture company will strengthen the research and application of military energy storage products with a focus on promoting the application of power batteries in military vehicles and ships.
Real quick, it doesn't surprise me at all that money would be flowing so heavily into these industries, because this centralized power, electrifying, is all of the governments of the world going to war with their own people. So it's not just China versus America. Of course, China has done this to their own people first, right? They've enslaved them using the technology, the 5G technology, in a surveillance state, right, with social credit scores. And this is being brought to the West very rapidly since 2020. And so, again, it doesn't surprise me that military funding would be put into these industries because it is a military project at the root, but really it's against the people. It's about tagging us like we're cattle with a digital ID. And real quick, the QR codes that I see everywhere, it is just prepping us for digital ID. It is we are the frog in the boiling pot. We need to get out before it comes to a boil and we all die. The QR codes, I know that it seems convenient, but this is just, it's psychological warfare, okay? It's getting us used to the idea, oh, we got a code, we got to scan a little code.
Now, let's take a look at this in-depth industry report titled Midterm Investment Strategy for Machinery Military Industry in 2022, published by Capital Securities on July 5th, 2022. In this report, Gotion is listed as a leading battery manufacturer, ranking fourth in China in terms of installed capacity for both 2021 and 2020. The report also states that Gotion's planned capacity for 2025 will exceed 300 gigawatt hours. Due to time constraint, we don't delve further into this, but I think we have already demonstrated Gotion's military background. It's worth noting that the concept of civil-military integration in China is increasingly recognized internationally. In other words, in China, there is no absolute boundary between civilian and military enterprises. Many civilian companies and research institutions also undertake military research projects, and military research achievements are widely used in civilian products. The level of integration between the military and the civilian sectors is quite high. Now, let's discuss the second key point, which is that Gotion is a CCP's enterprise. Its founder and chairman Li Zeng is also the party committee secretary of Gotion. Let's take a look. At this report, Gotion's high-tech party committee secretary and chairman Li Zeng developing with a sense of mission. This is a speech by Li Zeng published on China Industry News Network in 2016. We won't go into the content because the title already confirms Li Zheng's identity as party committee secretary. If there is a party committee secretary, then there must be a party committee in Gotion. Next. Let's take a look at the video promotion section on Gotion's Chinese website. The title of the video at the top center is Gotion High-Tech launches series of activities celebrating the 100th anniversary of the party's founding.
Alright, so I'm not going to watch the entire thing with you. I'll leave it down below. There's 10 minutes left that you can check out. But I think that she has good information here. It's important to listen to all types of people that might have new information. Personally, I know that every company has Chinese origins is linked to the CCP because of the nature of communism itself and how China works. I do have a video planned. It's just there's so much going on that's time sensitive, but I really want to talk about capitalism with Chinese characteristics, because that is what they're doing right now, and that is what the world wants and what the World Economic Forum wants to push. Again, communitarianism, the community comes first, but yeah, I'll leave that down below. And the last thing I wanted to share, there are two reports. This is a special report, Made in America, Property of China by News Nation. I'll leave down below. We're not going to watch it today. And The Great Awakening, the full documentary. I watched this. Thank you to Corey, who was on one of my live streams, that said I needed to watch this documentary. I think that it was an excellent documentary. I highly recommend you watch it so you understand the vision of the anointed that's going on. And I have another video planned of 23 books that you need to read after you've watched The Great Awakening if you want to dive in deeper to each of the topics presented in this documentary. So it's important to be informed, to understand what's going on, and who exactly we're dealing with here. Who is Klaus Schwab? Who was his daddy? It's all in this documentary. So I appreciate you guys very much for hanging out. Don't forget that there are meetings going on. Go to events. We have the Michigan Strategic Fund, which is the purse strings here in Michigan. So all Michiganders should try to get to this virtual meeting at least. That's tomorrow, 9 a.m. to 11, June 27th, so Tuesday. And Stop the Marshall Megasite midweek protest is every Wednesday from 3:30 to 5:30. And then lastly, there is a protest at 5 p.m. in Mundy Township before the board meeting. That's at 7 p.m. So, thank you guys for watching. Please keep fighting this centralized power. Do not get apathetic. That is the last thing that we need. That's what they want us to do. It's not over till it's over. And we can win this, okay? We can take Michigan back from the globalist central power. Thank you guys again, and I'll see you in the next video.